All right. So the other factor that might lead to a potential lockout, which I think might lead to a potential lockout, is our good old friend Angel Hernandez. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I mean, it's been everywhere. But Angel Hernandez strikes out Wyatt Langford on 3 pitches that were way, way out of the strike zone. At least the strike 3 pitch was egregious. It was the furthest ball outside the strike zone that has been called for a strike all year. It was 6.8 inches off the plate. I mean, not even remotely close.
Yeah, I'm putting a video clip in the chat if people want to go, if they want to go see it, if they haven't.
All 3 sliders on the outside corner just kept getting further and further away from the plate, and he brings them up.
I know the announcers were hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's Angel Hernandez, and we've been shitting on this guy constantly, but what does the league do about this? Can they do anything about this?
I don't know how they can't. The whole thing is like unions too, like, right? Like umpires are, the Major League Baseball umpires are in a union, right? So he's got some protection through the union. I'm not a union lawyer, so like I don't know what like the ins and outs of all that stuff. Like I have no idea. But like you have to imagine that there is enough tape out there and enough proof that he's just not good at his job.
No.
Like there's got to be a way. Like there absolutely has to be a way for them to be like, yeah, okay, fine, union protection. You've been a major league umpire for however many. It's been a long time that he's been in the league. Like, you have kind of the tenure, if we want to call it that. Like, fine, all those things are kind of working against the league. But like, how much evidence do you need? Like, you're just not good. Like, you are directly not just like impacting the outcomes of games. Like, you are causing the outcomes of games. Like, it's pretty crazy. And he's not even doing it when he's just behind home plate. I mean, he's tossing guys in the first inning when he's like a third base umpire because they don't agree that he called it a check swing versus it's like, dude, just let it go. But like, so he's throwing guys out of the game. I don't know. I can't imagine that the league can't do anything.
Right. I'm with you.
Regardless of like the union protection, tenure, all that stuff, regardless of all that, like we're not trying to get rid of a guy because like we don't like him on a personal, and I say we, like the league, but there is, I mean, you could have days upon days of simple just videos at a trial. It would take days for you to get through all those videos about how poor this guy is.
He made 161 bad calls in 10 games last year when he came back. Like, was
that the number?
Yeah, 161 in 10 games, 16 per game, and they weren't even close.
Jesus,
16 per game.
Yeah, 16 per game.
That's 2 an inning.
Right.
That's 2 an inning.
It's bad.
Essentially, I mean, that's crazy. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I don't know. They got to do something.
So what I find interesting with Angel,
just keep trotting this guy out every series. You can't do it.
No. So what I find interesting with Angel, and I forget where I found it. I'll see if I can't pull it up. But there are some umpires that have actually come out in defense of Angel because they think the general consensus around baseball is that he's been the lowest ranked umpire for years. He's been an umpire since 1991. He's been around a while. 30. This is his 33rd season as an umpire. He's been the lowest ranked guy for years and years and years. But the other umpires around the league, they like him. He's a super likable guy. The umpires like him. Players can't stand him. The league can't stand him. But the union won't make a move on him because he actually has the support of his peers. So the issue they've had is that MLB doesn't fire umpires. They basically ask the union to handle the situation. Every time they ask the union to handle the situation, they get told, we're not going to do anything about it. We like him. He's a good guy. And so now we're in the stalemate of he's terrible, and we can't argue that fact, but we like him. He's a good guy. And he's still here 33 years later, wrecking games. And I honestly think he lost his trial last year. He came back. He was horrendous. He threw guys out of spring training games this year. Like Lance Lynn got tossed in the spring training game.
Twice.
I honestly think Angel Hernandez, after losing his lawsuit again, I think this is the 3rd time it's been thrown out of the courts. I think he's just like, whatever. I'm just going to have fun then and screw with you guys.
No. Doug says, I think he was the 10th worst rated ump last year, and he only had 10 games.
It's just horrendous. His error marks are so bad.
I mean, I made the point last week. Like, I've seen, and not just Angel Hernandez, like other umps make egregious strike calls or balls right down the middle that were called balls. We've seen it both ways. And with this
Max Fried,
increase,
ask Max Fried about that.
well, yeah, that turned into a huge inning.
Blew up.
He literally threw a belt high right down the middle of the plate and called the ball. These guys are throwing crazy hard with crazy movement. Like, it is nearly impossible to get 100% right at the major league level with how these guys are throwing. I get it, but something has to be done. And like I mentioned last year with the ABS, I think the ABS, it's about time it comes to MLB. It's just too hard for these umpires to make the correct calls consistently.
Yeah, so it's hard. It's hard because it's like he does, like he's consistently looked at as like kind of the punching bag of umpires, right? Because, but it's kind of like he kind of brought it on himself. Like, it's not like it's like he has the same error rate as most umpires, and it's just like, well, we're just gonna pick on this guy. It's like his is just, it's far and away worse than every other umpire. And I don't think anybody in their right mind can actually say that they want, well, of course we want umpires to be 100%, but I don't think anyone can say we expect it. Like, oh, well,
Agreed.
You're a major league umpire, it's your job to get 100% correct. Because that's just not the nature of the sport. The sport itself is a game of failure. The players are going to make mistakes. The umpires are going to miss a call right down the middle, and they were expecting something else. The umpires get fooled. It happens. But like, when you have one guy that last year had, what was it, 161 in
161 in 10 games.
In 10 games. I mean, that is actively, aggressively impacting the outcomes of games. And how is the league, like, how can you stand up there and be honest and look yourselves in the mirror and say, we care about the integrity of the game? Like, the integrity of the game is being completely undermined. Yeah. When you have an umpire that, even when he's not calling balls and strikes, you still, dude, you can't tell me that if you go to a game and Angel Hernandez is umping first base or third base or whatever, you can't tell me that, like, once an inning you're just like, what's going to happen? Like, is he going to toss somebody? Right? Like, and if you as a fan know it, I mean, you can't tell me the players don't feel that. The frustration level, I mean, it's a frustrating game to play anyways. The frustration level they have knowing he's behind the plate, how is that not amped up already? Yeah. And like, these guys are pros and they have to deal with that. And I get that. I'm not saying that, we need to coddle the players, but it's just, to me, it just seems like such an easy fix. You just get rid of him.
Right. It seems like if he's that bad, he just goes. Like, if you're consistently the worst umpire, you probably should go.
Like, I don't care, man. Like, if teachers are in unions, like, teachers have unions. If you were just consistently year over year just not good at what you do, you're going to lose your job.
Right.
Like, union or no union. So I don't. It seems like it's almost like an excuse that the league is kind of using to, like, wash their hands of making a decision, and it's frustrating.
And you don't see umps anymore. Like, back in the day, you'd see the ump, like, whisper something in the catcher's ear, like, "Hey, I missed that one. I'll make it up," like, or something like that, right? You don't really see that. It seems like a power trip. Craig makes this statement, like, if they mess up a call, he gives them a call later, like most umps do. He won't. If you saw do you see the clip with him and Jeff McNeil the other night? Jeff McNeil steps out and he goes, "Hey, do I have a time?" And Angel's like, "Okay, time." And he's like, No. I'm asking if I have a timeout." And Angel's like, "No, you called time." He goes, "No, whatever. Jesus Christ." It gets back in the box. Like, that's just like, it's a power trip. It's not even about the game at that point. It's putting yourself in the spotlight. But
yeah. I heard it was AJ Pierzynski was on a podcast a couple days ago. I want to, it might've been the Talking Baseball one, but I can't remember what it was, but he basically said, they asked him his opinion of Angel Hernandez. And he said, here's the deal. Angel's a super nice guy, but once the game starts, he goes, most umpires miss a call. They'll lean in and be like, "Man, I kicked that one. I'll get you." He goes, with Angel, you go, "Hey, where'd that miss?" And he doesn't say anything. And then you go, "Hey, can you tell me where that missed?" And he's like, and all of a sudden you get ejected. Pierzynski goes, the issue with Angel Hernandez isn't calling balls and strikes, because these guys miss them and they make them up. Like, it's what happens. He said the problem with Angel is how he reacts to it. if you just ask him to say, hey, where did that miss? At the minute you ask him a question, he takes it as a challenge and runs you.
Yeah.
He said, and that's the thing that players hate most about Angel is the fact that you can't ask him, hey, where'd I miss? Or hey, where'd that miss? Or, where was that? You can't ask him that because he won't answer. And if you ask him again, I'll run you.
Yeah.
He goes, and that's why players don't like him.
Yeah.
Every other umpire, we ask that question, we get an answer. Oh yeah, that was up and I kicked it. He said that's the phrase most of these guys use. I kicked it, but he's like, Angel will never admit he kicked it. He'll throw you out the minute you question him.
Great.
He goes, no, everybody else will answer the question.
Yeah, Doug makes an interesting point. He's like to see someone under the age of 55 does as an ump because a lot of the guys are getting up there. Like, yeah, you do see some younger umps, but there are a handful of old veterans that are still in there, and you wonder if the game's kind of passed them by at this point, like past their ability. Maybe I don't know. That's
possible,
me speculating, but
it's possible.
Yeah. So I don't know.